30 times. Ten times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
You know, the study of neuroscience is really about what the nervous system does. And amazingly enough, the nervous system is responsible for everything that happens to us from the time that we're born until the time we die. But that really boils down to only 5 things. The nervous system has the responsibility of sensation, so sensing the physical events in the environment. We have these so-called receptors in the eyes and the ears and the nose and the mouth, on the skin, that take physical entities in the universe that are real fixed, non-negotiable things like sound waves and photons of light and chemicals in the environment traveling that make it into our nose and things like that, and convert those into the second thing, which is perceptions. So the nervous system's responsibility is to take those sensations, which are non-negotiable, and perceive certain ones and not others. So for instance, right now, until I say, you know, what's the sensation of your feet contacting the floor or the bottoms of your shoes? You weren't thinking about it, but those pressure receptors were being engaged the entire time. So your perception is like a window or a spotlight that's very much linked to attention. Then there are emotions, often called feelings. And those are really designed to push us down particular avenues of perception. And the next thing, which are thoughts. Okay, so we've got sensation, perception, feelings, and then there are thoughts, which really have a lot to do with what we're perceiving and the way we're organizing those perceptions, what they mean. And generally that's put into the context of what we already know, or memories. And then the 5th thing is behaviors or actions. And of course, neurons are responsible for generating actions, and there are really 2 kinds of actions. There are the actions that you generate reflexively, like your breathing and your heart rate right now are largely reflexive, or you could decide control of your respiration and make it voluntary, right? And not just reflexive.
Thirty times. Ten times more. Two times more. letting go, and stop.
So those 5 things, sensations, perceptions, feelings, thoughts, and actions, really encompass all of our life experience. And that's from the very mundane of getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth to the most awe-inspiring, goal-motivated, pinnacle moments of your life. The nervous system, not the immune system, not the digestive system, all of which are important, but the nervous system, meaning the brain, spinal cord, and the connections with the body and the connections from the body back to the brain and spinal cord are responsible for all of that. And as just a final point, the nervous system is also responsible for telling the immune system, something that's very relevant right now in this COVID pandemic, when to be active. You know, we don't often think about the immune system as governed by anything, but it's actually governed by the nervous system. You know, we're essentially just this collection of cells, and yet everything is organized in this almost video game virtual reality like version of the world. So the way that neuroscientists think about these sorts of things nowadays is in the following way, that you're absolutely right, Tom. Everything about life experience is an abstraction. And the brain has a language. It's creating an abstract representation of everything that's out there in the world. Everything. And that might seem sort of obvious to some of your listeners, but when you think about it, that's perhaps one of the most interesting and profound features of life in general, the galaxies, any organism, because somehow your abstractions and my abstractions and the abstractions of the brains of all your listeners are able to converge on some common meaning, at least in many cases, about what these words mean or what different events in the natural world mean. Now, objects fall down, they don't generally fall up. So there are some rules that we learn very early on that are obvious, right?
Thirty times. Ten times more. Two times more.
But there's some other
Letting
rules
go
that are
and
less
stop.
obvious that come about when we start thinking about things like growth mindset and what's rewarding, what is punishing, what it means to lean in hard to a problem, or what creativity is. But I want to just mention there's one exception to all this, which is very interesting, and it happens to be the one that my lab works on, so I am biased in this regard. But there's one piece of your brain that is outside your skull. In fact, you have two. The rest of your central nervous system is inside your skull and spinal cord, except lining the back of your eye is the neural retina, which is 3 cell layers thick, meaning it's about as thick as a credit card. And the neural retina is not attached to the brain, it is brain. The cells in the neural retina were deliberately placed during development. They got pushed out of the skull and deliberately to sense light events in the environment, and not just the shapes of things and what's moving around out there, but fundamentally to tell the rest of the brain and nervous system when to be alert and when to be asleep, based on how much light is in the environment and the quality of that light. So viewing morning sunlight around the time of sunrise, as well as evening sunlight around the time of sunset, not just at sunset, rise and sunset, but near those times, a couple hours on either side, is fundamental for instructing the brain, a special collection of neurons right above the roof of the mouth, which then instructs all the cells of the body when to be active. It's sort of like you're a factory and you need your digestion to work on a particular schedule and you need your spleen to work on another schedule. And it's morning light and evening light in particular